What's going on? Big A coming at you with another video. And I really like the Tron movies. I like Tron the original, seen it so many times. I also like Tron Uprising, the animated series, which was on Disney XD back in the day. And I'm interested to see what they do with Tron for the third one, which has Jared Leto in it. But in this video, I want to talk about kind of Tron Legacy and like how I like kind of the mythic kind of outlook of the whole thing. So the film starts off and essentially Kevin Flynn is like a god. I mean, when he goes onto the grid, he is God in the presence of beings that, well, view him as a god because he created the grid. He wanted to make the perfect system. And so in order to do that, he created Clue. So Clue in essence is, I guess you could say, the son of a god. Now in Tron, programs are aware that there are users. So users are the people who create them, but obviously they never meet them because we're so far away and they're inside the computer and they never see us other than Kevin Flynn, who's managed to work his way into a computer and become digitized. If you've seen the first movie, that's pretty much what happens. So yeah, you've got a god who's created a son of sorts in order to create the perfect world, and then you've got Tron there also to kind of protect and police it. So when it turns out that the ISOs, who aren't created by Kevin Flynn, aka God, and they just come into existence via the grid automatically. Clue, who's a program that Flynn created to have his image, so technically his son, he sees this as kind of like blasphemy. His faith is in Flynn and creating the perfect system. He does not understand. He sees the ISOs as being an abomination of sorts, since it's not a creation of God, and as far as he's aware, God or users, gods, create everything. And so I guess he feels betrayed. And that's why you've got someone who has the face of God, Clue, who then betrays God himself to create the perfect system on his own with a forceful hand. And I really like that idea. I think Tron is like a bigger franchise than Disney realized that they have, and I don't quite know what to do with it, but I think that was probably the like most interesting thing about Tron Legacy, is that it's about kind of, well, a god that becomes like banished or overthrown by his own creation. And it feels like a Greek mythology kind of thing going on as well, because obviously you've got Flynn, who comes down to the grid in the same way that Zeus would come down to Earth. The only difference is that when Zeus did it, he would always be in like some kind of disguise to kind of like hide what he was doing, whereas with Flynn, it's not the same thing. And then also you've got the fact that Clue being Flynn's creation and being kind of like his son, meeting Flynn's actual son, Sam, and them two kind of coming together. They're both like, in a way, creations of God, or creations of a god, but they're separate sides. One wants kind of like the totalitarian, kind of make everything perfect, and the other one kind of wants the same thing that his dad wants, I guess, which is like a free system and for kind of all programs to be free and not controlled. So yeah, I just like the film a lot, man. It's a dope movie, and I just think it's really smart and clever, like what they did. I hope that the Tron sequel kind of takes that on and tries to do something with that idea, because I think that whole thing of gods and mortals, you know, with the mortals being the programs and the users, us, being the gods, I think it's definitely an interesting thing that they could explore. And then what I like about Tron Legacy is the way in which it ends, which is you've got Kevin Flynn, who technically is a failed god. He's kind of like pushed off his own post, betrayed by his own son who has his face. And it's him sacrificing himself to save kind of like perfection, I guess. And I guess you could say Sam is the greatest creation of Kevin Flynn, because it's almost like Sam is a representation of what the grid is, like to be free and kind of go on his own journey and be on his own path, and that's what kind of the grid is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be tied down, ruled in a totalitarian fashion. It's not meant to be that, and I feel like I'm kind of butchering this with really poor kind of like wording, but yeah, it's like two sides of the same coin, I guess. And you know, God sacrifices himself in order for the grid to be free, and in order for his son to kind of, well, I guess his true son, Sam, to carry on his work. But yeah, I just thought I'd chat a bit about Tron, because I like Tron a lot, man. And yeah, like I said, Disney don't realize kind of like how cool Tron really is. Let me know if you've seen Tron Legacy or any of the Tron Uprising, for example, which is on Disney Plus at the moment. Do all the things, like and all that. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one.